Okay, there we go. I'm about a minute or two late. I apologize, having some technical difficulty on this end, but I think I've got it all straightened out now. So happy day after Christmas. If you're like me, you're just kind of trying to take the day in, take a breather, slow down the pace a little bit. But I hope the holiday weekend was good for you. Ours was really great. I'll try to do a blog post on it. But anyways, the Nave family celebrated their Christmas Eve and Christmas Day on the 22nd and 23rd, actually, because my son-in-law's family was staying at Andrea and John's on the 23rd and 24th. And we did see them a little bit as well. But as you can imagine, it was a wonderful time celebrating Riley's first Christmas. We all had lots of fun and we have great memories. I have some very creative projects that were gifts from my daughters that I'll be showing you probably tomorrow. Yeah, just lots of food, too much food, lots of family time and lots of memories made. So I hope that your weekend or your celebration was just as nice. And for those of you who haven't celebrated yet, because I know with families it can be celebrating on different days, trying to coordinate schedules, but I hope you enjoy that time as well. Today I'm going to show you how to make 2 quick and easy cards using 1 sheet of designer series paper. I'm using the, what's it called? Winter Meadow 12 by 12 designer series paper. This is one of our products that will carry over. And my sentiment, Winter Wishes, is from the coordinating stamp set called Magical Meadow. And the Magical Meadow stamp set and dies are retiring. Okay, the DSP and the ribbon with that will carry over, but the stamp set that I'm using is retiring. But I think you're going to love today's demonstration. So let's get started right away. I'm going to flip my camera around now. And while I'm doing that, I encourage you to share this live video and invite others to join us this afternoon. You can even tag your friends right in the comments, okay? Oops, I need to scoot out a little bit. We are down to the last few days in December, and with that, I want to remind you that we are also into the final days of our last chance list, last chance promotion. Many of the products in the September to December mini catalog are retiring. Some are discounted, and I know there are still many products list, and you can find those by going to stampinpiece.com and then shopping for Stampin' Up! Products. How's that? I'm trying to get this so it's not too wonky. Okay. As I said, I'm working with the Winter Meadow Designer Series paper. It is gorgeous if you haven't checked it out. I love it because it has that nice subtle holiday feel, but it's something that you can use beyond the holidays well into winter. And the colors are gorgeous. The images are just as gorgeous. So you're going to start with a piece of 12 by 12, or I'm sorry, 6 by 6 designer series paper. If you have 12 by 12, which the Winter Meadow DSP is, you'll simply cut it in half in each direction to get your 6 by 6 DSP. Now for this, and notice that this paper is non-directional, okay? So it doesn't matter which side I'm starting on because it's non-directional. But I'm going to cut this at 3 3/4 inches. And then each of these 6-inch strips, I'm going to cut down to 5 inches. And we're going to use all parts of the 6x6 DSP on the cards we make today. I'm not actually going to make these cards, but I'm going to show you what I made with these. First of all, I did flip over those small pieces, but these are the cards I made by cutting that 6x6 piece of designer series paper. Super easy, super fun, and they are layouts you can use over and over and over. The reason I'm not making these right now is because I want to show you what it's like when you're working with directional paper. So therefore, we're going to cut, I have 2 of these 6x6 pieces of DSP. We're going to cut them using the same 6x6 one-sheet wonder. We're going to make 2 vertical and 2 horizontal cards. And I'm demonstrating this to show you that you make one small tweak or one small turn to be able to make cards in both directions, okay? So I will be making a total of 4 cards today. And you'll want to hang on till the end because I'll give you a code word and then I am giving away all 4 cards. So again, 6x6, I'm cutting it down at 3 3/4. I'm going to turn each of these strips to the horizontal direction and cut at 5 inches. And I'm going to use these pieces to make 2 of my cards. And then we'll come back and do some cutting and make the other 2. So first up, I've got 2 card bases in Night of Navy. They measure 5.5 by 8.5 inches, and I scored in the center at 4 1/4. I've got 2 pieces of basic white cardstock for the inside that measure 5 1/4 by 4 inches. Let me just put these on the inside of my card bases right away. And then for layers with the DSP on the front of these cards, I've got smoky slate cardstock that measures 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. Okay, 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. I'm going to use 1 on each of the card fronts. So let me go ahead and make this one first. This piece that we cut from that one-sheet wonder is 5 by 3 3/4 inches. And I'm going to back it with the smoky slate. And then I've got this piece that I cut off from one of the ends. And it measures 3 3/4 by 1 inch. I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to stamp right onto this DSP because it's light enough. Okay, it's just a very light shade of smoky slate. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp right onto that strip right in the center. And I'm using Winter Wishes. This comes from the Magical Meadow bundle. That one is retiring. I'm going to banner cut each end with my banner Pick-a-Punch, one of my favorites, and I should say one of my favorites and one of my most used. And then I'm going to mount this. Actually, let me put this on my card front, and then I'll mount or adhere the banner to it. And I'm going to put this right about there, and I will adhere it with a few dimensionals. So this card would be very suitable to send during, it could be sent right now or during any of the winter months. If somebody has a winter birthday or something to celebrate, this would be a wonderful card for that. It could be a thinking of you card. You can change out the sentiment and make it anything you want. I was thinking, oh, I could switch out the sentiment and use these for my holiday thank you cards, because I do like to send thank you cards. Everybody likes to have their gifts acknowledged or their time spent with you acknowledged and to feel appreciated. So I think that's what I'll be doing. And then I'm going to adhere my bow with a mini glue dot. I'm going to just angle it right there to the bottom right of the sentiment. And then I'm going to add a few of our rhinestone basic jewels. Okay, so there's card number 1 with that one sheet wonder. Need to cap this so I don't lose that cap. You know how easy that is to do. Okay, the other 2 pieces I cut from the one sheet wonder, I'm going to now adhere to the smoky slate cardstock. Just adhering it so there are even, there's an even amount of cardstock behind that DSP on the top, bottom, and left sides. Then with this one, I'm going to flip it over. And once again, I'm going to punch one end. Now, since this has already been cut with my one sheet wonder, it measures 1 inch by 2 1/4. 2 1/4 can be kind of tricky to get in here just evenly. To help me out, and you can see there's not much left to hold on to, right? But what I'm going to do is just flip it over, and I'm actually going to pull it in a little bit, and I can look right here and see if it's straight, just like that. So it's not terribly hard. I know we use that punch. We usually are working with a bit longer strip, but I wanted to show you it can be done with this 2 1/4 inch strip from the one sheet wonder. And then again, I'm stamping right onto this DSP because it is light colored. It's not busy. It's a very subtle background. I probably wouldn't do it on here because the words would get lost in the image. All right. Some of you may have a preference towards making vertical cards. Some may be horizontal cards. I like to do both. So that's why I want to take the time in this demonstration to show you that you can still do both horizontal and vertical cards using this one sheet wonder just by making one simple change when you're cutting. But before we go on to the next pair of cards, I just want to embellish this one a bit. I'm using the same ribbon, the silver and white sheer ribbon. which is carrying over. I'm so excited. I love sheer ribbons. They are my favorite. Whoops. They are my favorite sheer ribbons. And this one just, it shimmers, it shines, kind of glistens. How many of you have this ribbon? Isn't it gorgeous? And it's not just for the holidays. It's not just for winter. White and silver can go with just about anything. Somebody might be celebrating a silver anniversary, or you might be making a card for a wedding or a graduation or a retirement. Don't think things that are shiny and glittery and like this ribbon have to be used only for the holidays. And that's one thing, when I go through a catalog that has a lot of holiday products, I like to look at the holiday specific products and see if there is a way that I can use those holiday specific products for something other than the holiday they were made for. And you know that should be true, right? Because I'm all about getting the most bang for your buck. That means I want to purchase products that are going to be versatile for me. And there's my second card, okay? I used one 6x6 one sheet wonder to make these two cards. Very simple layouts, right? I'm going to now make a second set. I'm going to use the same one sheet wonder. I'm going to use the same card layouts, but we're going to make two horizontal cards instead of vertical. Now, you know that when I made my vertical cards, I had my paper in this direction, top and bottom. When I'm making a horizontal card with this one sheet wonder, I'm going to turn my DSP so that the top is on my left and the bottom is on the right. Okay, for the first set of cards, I did top and bottom. Here I'm turning once so the top lies on my left side and the bottom of the DSP is on the right. And again, this is just for papers that are directional. When it's something like this, non-directional, it doesn't matter which side you start on. And you can even see how I could have made these cards in the opposite direction and the DSP would have been fine. So again, I'm starting at 3 3/4. I've got these two rectangles that I'm going to turn to the horizontal position and cut at 5 inches. So I've got these two, and then this second one, cutting at 5 inches, and I'll use all 4 of these pieces of DSP for my next two cards. I've got all of the same supplies, and they're all cut the same as for the first set of cards. So my two Night of Navy card bases. I've got my 2 pieces of basic white for the inside. Whoops, where did those come from? You always know, right, that we want a white or vanilla or some light color cardstock on the center of our card to make it easier for us to write on, and for our recipients, the people receiving the cards, to read. I'm going to leave them this way, reminding me that I'm making 2 horizontal cards. Again, I've got smoky slate cardstock that measures 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. Okay. Wow, so many of you are on today. 50? Woo, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I wasn't sure with it being the day after Christmas, how many people would be available and willing to watch. So thank you very much. You all made my day. Okay, so I have this. Now I can do, this is going to go on my card front, correct? Right? And now I can decide, do I want this to go here? I could do something like that. Instead, I'm going to use this for my sentiment in this direction, and I'm going to punch both ends with my Banner's Pick-a-Punch, simply because I love it. And I'm going to use the very same sentiment. Remember, this could be a thank you, thinking of you. Could even be a pretty sympathy card. Pretty, subtle, that sort of thing. Gwen, this is the Winter Meadow Designer Series paper. And it is available. It's in our September to December mini catalog. Okay. Now, before I adhere my layers, I'm actually going to cut a piece of this beautiful silver and white sheer ribbon, and I'm just going to attach it across my card front, my layers, fairly close to the bottom, but with room for my sentiment. So I just take one end and adhere it to the adhesive I have on the back. I'm going to pull the other end right across, making sure it's straight. And you can just eyeball it. You don't need to measure or anything like that. Just eyeball it. You'll get it straight. And if not, you can even pick up the end and reset it. So now I'm ready to adhere this to the center of my card front. Just like that. And then I'm going to use dimensionals to, where are they? Here they are. To adhere this to the center on top of that pretty ribbon. I need to cut along here because I'm just about at the end. I hope you're doing this. Don't waste those edges of dimensionals, right? Waste not, want not. I'm pretty frugal when it comes to stuff like this. That's because I would rather spend my money on the more exciting things like stamps and punches and fun paper, fun DSP, or maybe some fun embellishments. And I use a lot of dimensionals, so I would be wasting a whole lot if I wasn't cutting up those edges. Notice for this, I put my dimensionals on the outside edges of the banner. Does anybody know why? Does anybody know why I did that? If I had put my dimensionals just down the center of the banner and then on top of the ribbon there, it would all be moving around, the whole banner, everything. Okay? So I decided I want my embellishment to adhere above and below, or not embellishment, my adhesive to adhere above and below that ribbon. Okay? Exactly right, Ruth. Okay, before I go on to the second card, I'm going to embellish this a little bit. Let's see. We already have the ribbon. So let's just add a couple of these large rhinestones, just like that. And there's the finished card. Okay. Now let's make the fourth card. The fourth card and second vertical card. Now you can decide where you want this strip. It can be at the top, it can be at the bottom, it can be at the center. It really doesn't matter. Same thing with the one in the vertical position. You can put it anywhere you like on there. So there's a little flexibility if you want to make a bunch of cards, but you all want them all to look a little bit different. So here I'm going to adhere this near the bottom of that smoky slate cardstock. And then I decided for this, I'm going to use the printed side. You know, on the other card, I flipped it over and stamped right on the back side. I'm going to do something a little bit different for this one. I'm actually going to banner punch the end. Whoops. And remember, the strip from the One Sheet Wonder is only 2 1/4 inches long, so it can be kind of tricky getting it in there and making it straight. So you definitely want to look at the back side and just kind of wiggle it with your finger on the front, and it will come out just fine. Now, this is what I'm going to do here. Well, actually, let me put this on these layers on the center of my card front. Then I'm actually using this piece as a decorative banner on my card. And I'm going to place it right about here. And I could do a couple of different things here. I could stamp my sentiment right here onto the cardstock, but instead I'm going to stamp it onto the scrap piece of basic white cardstock. And then I'm going to punch it with my double oval punch. And I'm only using the plain solid edge oval at the bottom. It's kind of a mouthful, isn't it? Solid edge, but whatever. You get what I'm saying. And, whoops. I'm going to put one dimensional right in the center. And again, you can play with this, put it anywhere you want, but I'm going to put it right here on this banner. That banner kind of helps draw attention to it. Or the sentiment draws attention to the banner. You can look at it both ways, I guess. And now I'm going to finish this off with just a jetty. I should have done this before, but that's okay. I can still do it. Just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of ribbon here. So I have about 2 inches. I fold it over and I just cut the edge at an angle. And like I said, I should have laid that down before I put my sentiment on. Silly me to forget that step, right? Like that. And now I'm ready for my sentiment right on top. So I've got that touch of the silver and white sheer ribbon. And then lastly, I'm going to add a few rhinestones with my Take Your Pick tool. And I'm going to use a medium and 2 smalls. Our basic rhinestones come in the 3 sizes, which I love. That too gives us a little more versatility and option for creativity. So let me pull in all 4 cards. So here's our 2 horizontal cards, and here's our 2 vertical cards. Portrait, landscape, position, some you might call it by the other name. But again, I made both sets of cards from a 6x6 one-sheet wonder. Okay, 6x6 one-sheet wonder. And if you weren't here at the very beginning, I'm just going to quickly show you what I did, because I have no problem cutting more cardstock for more cards. Let me pick a different one though. Maybe I haven't used yet. Oh, I love this one. So this I would make with the smoky slate and the Lost Lagoon. So you're going to start with a piece of 6x6 designer series paper, and one of these will make 2 cards. Okay. I've got one that could be used for the vertical cards and one for the horizontal cards. And I see my favorite son-in-law, my only son-in-law, John Schmidt, has jumped on here with Riley. I don't know if this commercial is everywhere, Riley Auto Parts. That's what he's referring to, his little nickname. Also, Auto Parts says, "Hi, GM. I'm GM, Grandma Mary," in case you didn't know that. And John assigned me that name. So for this first one, and again, if you're using non-directional paper, it doesn't matter a bit. But here I would start in this direction, and I cut at 3 3/4, and then I cut each of these strips then at 5 inches. So that right there is the one-sheet wonder, okay? That right there is my one-sheet wonder. I'm going to lay it out like this so you can see. Now, if it is directional, you will want to know, are you making vertical cards and cut it this way? If you want to make horizontal cards, you're just going to turn that DSP to the opposite direction and then make the same cuts. All right, 3 3/4, and then each of these are cut to 5 inches. I guess my son-in-law really likes me because he's seen me a whole lot lately, more than usual with the holidays. In fact, that would be 4 days in a row. So thank you, John. That makes me feel good. Okay, so you get the idea. It's the very same one-sheet wonder, is just turned. Okay, this cut this way, it makes the 2 vertical cards, and then I guess I should have shown you this way, right? And then having it turned, I guess it was like this. I'm going to do it so it matches up with the video. Okay. So you can see right here, it's the same one-sheet wonder, but the DSP was in a different direction so that I can make the vertical cards with the images going the correct way. Okay, so let's clear that out. Here's the last chance to see the cards made today. So again, very quick, very easy. And it uses one 6x6 designer series paper and very limited supplies, cardstock, a punch, and a couple of embellishments, right? If you would like to have your name put into the drawing to receive one of these 4 pretty cards, please comment "Winter Wishes." Winter wishes. That's the sentiment we use today. Winter wishes. I have to be honest and say, here in Central Ohio, it does not feel like winter at all. And I do like winter. I like all the seasons, really. No chance of a white Christmas at all. It rained most of the time, and we are well into the 50s. I went to a doctor's appointment this afternoon, and it was 59 degrees, and it was only 1 o'clock, 12:30 in the afternoon. So we were getting into the 60s today. Crazy, isn't it? Oh, you're getting snow out in Iowa. I read that a winter storm was coming that direction. All right, everybody. Thank you. Julie says she loves the warmer weather in Northeast Ohio. Yeah, you know, it feels like spring. I feel like I should get my bike out and zip around the block or something. Anyways, we take what we get, right? Good, bad. Winter in northern Queensland, Australia. Okay. All right, everybody, have a great evening. I look forward to sharing another creative demonstration with you this Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Stampin' Peace with Mary Nabe. And if you have not checked out my blog, I hope you will do so, stampinpeace.com. Okay, stampinpeace.com. Lots of great inspiration and all kinds of projects and tips and resources. So please check that out. And if you like what you see there, please subscribe. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.